Hey, everybody. Welcome to The Experience Live with Russ and Scott.
Welcome to The Experience Live with Russ and Scott.
Special thank you to our sponsors, the Gillette Home team of Keller Williams Vidro-Laminate. For all your real estate needs, go to teamgillette.com. And Summit Cleaning and Restoration. For all your cleaning and restoration needs, go to summitclean.com. Good morning, everybody. I am ready to roll.
There we go. Kick it up right off the bat. Just set the stage.
Well, when you need a little pick-me-up, Kermit's always good.
Yep. Hey, we got great guests today. A little reprise of an episode that we had earlier, but Diana and David were so good, had so many insights. We just had to bring them back.
Well, sometimes you have an amazing chemistry and duo with guests you have on. And I was talking to Diana earlier this week. We have an upcoming guest, Jess Daigle, who's a pediatrician, will be on in January. And she was on the Supernova Sisters, one of the shows that Diana does. And just a great chemistry between Noopy and Diana and her. And sometimes it just flows really, really good. Mm-hmm. Of course, you know, Scott, we bring on such great guests that they always flow good and make you and I look good. So that's
most remarkable people in the world.
So, hey, tell everybody what you got going on this week.
Hey, you know, it's just a quiet week here with lots of rain in the neighborhood. And so just staying close to home. I ended up with a little cough. So I'll have to mute myself. And but of course, Veronica and I are busy out promoting Freeze in Action in the Face of a Business Crisis. How do you react when the unexpected happens? And so people can go to stopinaction.com and learn more about that book. But we're pretty excited about that.
Well, that is very exciting. And, you know, she was a great person to team up with on that book. Mm-hmm. I know that she's doing amazing promotional things with that as well. And, you know, that.
Yeah. And in fact, if people are writing a book and they're really looking, you know, how do I promote it? She does do coaching around that. And she is a machine. She has got it going on.
Well, she was trained by the best, right? Mr. D. Scott Smith.
Well, she's the marketing person. She's got that going.
Well, that's great.
That was new to me. So I'm learning a ton from her.
Good. Well, I've got my copy and can't wait to read it. Just finished my last book, so I'm heading on to that next. But listen, everybody, I'm just looking to an outstanding week. I just want to encourage everybody, no matter what's going on in your experience of life, stay positive, keep moving, trust God, and things will work out for the good. And I am feeling better. I am moving in a positive direction in all that I'm doing. I'm staying active. That's the beautiful thing, Scott, about the virtual world. You don't have to be walking around to be able to be on. So speaking of the virtual world, I just want to remind everybody we're here every Wednesday, 7 a.m. Pacific Standard Time. The Experience Live with Russ and Scott. And before this, we were on the Experience Backstage on Instagram Live. It's a platform that we have just started doing here in the past year with our friend Shri, and it's an amazing platform. It's got its whole separate audience and some people that cross over, but it's just a blessing to be able to do that before we come on here. So
we always learn from Shri every week too. So definitely
people
definitely want to tune into that.
For sure, for sure. Well, listen, Scott, let's get going.
Let's bring the guests in.
We always start with ladies first. So Diana, Dr. Diana is ready to go. Here she is. Woo!
Good morning.
I like your Muppet. Where's my Muppet? I want the Muppet.
Well, you really like that? There you go.
That's better. That's what I needed. I was kidding. Yeah. Good morning. How are you? It seems like everybody has some virus. I know Scott was saying he has a little cough. I'm a little raspy, and David too. We're in the virus cycle, so definitely been challenging these winter months.
Well, that's one thing I gotta say. Thank God for not being out among people. Thank God I have not got a virus on top of what's going on, so that's good.
Yeah, that is the good news.
Yes. But Diana, it's been so long since we've seen each other. I think it's been an entire day. So why don't you give everybody a little recap of who you are and what you're up to?
Yeah, I'm Dr. Diana Londoño. I'm a urologist in Los Angeles, and that's my primary job. But I also am the founder of physiciancoachsupport.com. It's a free and confidential platform for any physician to come and get support by a peer. They are all certified life coaches, they're physicians, and they're there to support any physician with any challenge that arises. Because we know burnout is real, in any industry, but really physicians are affected by this quite a large number, 60% plus, which means if you're a patient, and we are all patients, I was just at the doctor the other day trying to make sure this was not something else. You want the doctor to be present, to listen, to make sure they don't make mistakes. And when they're in a state of stress, burnout, they're going to make mistakes. Those tests that you needed are not going to get ordered. They're going to miss something on the scan. All these things happen. We don't like to talk about it, but it's really a reality. So it's really important that physicians take time to take care of themselves, not only physically, getting their screenings, getting their own care medically, but also physically, emotionally, and spiritually, to be in a great place to take care of so many people that we take care of every day. So that's really what I'm about. I like to really talk about, wellness, taking care of ourselves. And, it's so important because, again, we take care of so many people and we want to be present. We want to make sure that your test result, is, we call you, we talk to you with empathy, we help you through the scary moments. And when you're in a state of burnout, you're not going to have much to give in terms of empathy. So, you've been through it this, few weeks, Russ. You've experienced, what is it like to be taken care of by somebody that is present and happy, or people that are just checked out. So again, really important for all of us.
Yeah. Well, it's interesting because of primarily you and Noopy, I have got now an entire community of doctor friends. And one thing that people forget, and this is interesting you bring this up with the burnout and all that, one thing that people forget is doctors are people too. And yes, we want empathy. We want to be taken care of. We want all this stuff for us. But we can't forget that they are people too, going through their own life with their kids. I mean, Diana, this morning you got up, took care of your kids, gave them breakfast, did all kinds of things, wiped snotty noses, have to do a show, and then off to be a doctor and do surgery, right? I mean, there's life going on around all that you're doing. And I think that what I love about you and this community is really people that care and want to do good for others, but also want to promote taking care of yourself, because self-care is so important. It starts with you being in a good spot, right?
Correct. Yeah. I mean, even yesterday when we were in the show, my daughter at midnight was like vomiting everywhere, all over the bed. And even though she was calling Poppy, Poppy, like that, I wasn't one that heard it. So I got up, and then I still have to do the whole day and, do everything else. And again, my husband does a lot, but, all these things we still have to do. We have our own things. And yes, we have to practice what we preach. We have to get our own screenings. We have to take care of us as well, make sure we are doing that. because screening is really important for all of us. Again, we are patients too, and we like to neglect that, and we don't have enough time, and we cannot do it. But it's really important that we do all those screenings, mammograms, pap smears, colonoscopies, all those things that, routine blood work. What's your cholesterol? What is your sugar? What are all your things to make sure there's nothing else going on you need to pay attention to?
Right. Well, one other thing I was going to say, Scott, I know you're just dying to say something, but I was going to say that I love just the attitude, wanting to care, but starting with yourself. But then when you're able to reach out with that empathy and care and love to others, it means a lot. And I can tell you that firsthand. I've been blessed with really good doctors who care and have taken time. And one of my oncologist surgeon called me last night just to go over some things with me. That means a lot, actually, taking time just to call me personally. A lot of times the doctors don't actually call you, their team does. And I understand they're busy because he's in surgery and stuff too. But when they take a moment to call, that means a lot. And so I think that's so important. And I think before, Scott, I let you talk, we're going to bring in our next guest because we're going to keep rolling along the show. We're going to give your radio voice a break here this morning. Mr. David Osk, who is an amazing individual. How you doing, David?
What's up, guys? I am actually doing great today. The sun is shining. We had some storms coming through Middle Tennessee last night, and but guess what? It's blue skies. Nothing but blue skies today. So.
Well, I wish that it was nothing but blue skies here in Oregon, but we are not getting that at the moment. Although for me, it's kind of a moot point because I'm not out in it anyway. But so, David, you are, speaking about caring for people and speaking about just really having a heart of gold, a great man of God. Tell us a little bit about who you are. Give everybody a little recap, who you are and what you're up to.
Well, thank you for that. That's very kind. First and foremost, right? I'm just a husband and a dad, trying to make a difference in my own family first. And I happen to run a business, so I developed a product years ago that is now selling in a little over 3,000 retail stores. It's a thermostat guard with a combination lock, so you don't have to worry about losing a key. And I'm grateful for opportunity. I'm kind of a creative at heart. I'm kind of high level visionary type of a person, and the things that I'm been more passionate about lately are really helping people to drill in on their own authenticity and identity. And of course, I've teamed up with Dr. Andy Garrett, who created a course called the True North Blueprint, and it's really its main mission is to help people identify identity, what their true north is. And I love what Dr. Londoño talks about so much with regards to burnout and so on. And that's something that we see quite a bit. People, coming to us, they're just scratching their heads because they have the markers of success. They've got the, family and financially they're doing okay or doing really well for that matter. And yet they're just burned out and they're wondering what in the world is going on. And one of the things that we do is to help usher people into a place in their own heart, their own mind, their own soul, with regards to, their authenticity, their intrinsic motivation, as opposed to, and guys, I tell you what, the whole burnout thing, even here lately for me, has been something I've had to kind of relearn a little bit, because I think that I've been saying yes to too many things that are, I guess, extrinsically motivating to me, where I feel like I'm searching to, once again, I'm dipping my toe in that water where I'm searching to become somebody, as opposed to bringing the most, precious, courageous convictions to bear in whatever I'm doing. And I feel like I've been, kind of learning the hard way recently, with some burnout. So it's funny, even as we're helping people understand that for themselves, we're constantly learning, right? We're constantly course correcting and wanting to identify, right? Identity, those things that are really, truly front and center today that are, that are meaningful. And so anyway, I've been just, I don't know, building self-awareness as I'm helping other people, build self-awareness in themselves, so that they're making decisions that make a better and more peaceful life for themselves. But
so I know I have a little inside scoop with David's World, and listening to Diana talking about burnout, and David, you made a decision for the month of December that I think is really important and supports what Dr. Diana is saying. So share about that.
Yeah. So back in November, I started waking up in the morning, and just usually mornings for me are like, all right, let's go get it. Let's get after it. And what I found was, I felt like I was waking up with some anxiety and even dread, like what is going on? And so it took me a little while to kind of get to the point of making the decision. But I facilitate 2 men's mastermind groups. So there's 20 men that are running businesses and doing various things, and we meet on a regular basis, every single week actually. But what I found is I was just having it's all good stuff, but too much stuff, too many interactions, too much stimulus, coming into my brain, as it were, and just feeling a general sense of overwhelm. And so I think there's a difference between, overwhelm and burnout. And I think I was saying yes to too many great things. And I was getting to one of the things that Dr. Andy talks about is, he says, follow the clues. Well, I started avoiding things. I'm like, and it's not like me to do that, right? So when I'm acting inauthentically, I started avoiding things, and just feeling a general sense of fatigue and apathy, and started even isolating some, which is so not like me. So I just had to take a healthy look at the clues, and I decided to take the entire month of December off, and I'm really pulling back. So starting tomorrow, I'm pulling off. And granted, I don't have social media on my phone anyway, because it's kind of a trap. I took that off months ago, but I'm taking off Twitter and LinkedIn and anything, the Telegram app and some of these things that can, just grab our attention and get us, I don't know, just get us off centered. And it was a really tough decision for me to make, because I'm hyper social and I love people, and but I needed to make that decision. And honestly, when I made that decision, I started instantly to feel my blood pressure started going down. I started to feel a bit more peaceful and even courageous, which was a weird thing, because I found that as I started to get overwhelmed, fear started creeping in. But as I started to set some healthy boundaries around, my life and those things that are most important to me, right? All of a sudden, the courage started to dial back up, that sense of resilience and clarity of purpose. So I think that, we're complex people with a whole lot going on. And sometimes it takes some stillness, and sometimes it takes somebody asking great questions, right? And sometimes it takes someone else to sit outside and read our label and say, hey, these are the things that I see. Maybe these are some blind spots for you. And that's why, even Dr. Londoño, when you're starting these groups where, doctors and so on can come together and get support, I think is so important, because you need someone else quite often to read your label and to ask great questions, on the outside. And so anyway, it's been kind of an interesting couple of weeks for me, for sure.
Diana?
Yeah, no, I was thinking a lot while you were speaking. Like, so many things were coming up while you were saying your story. I think it's, even if you're very, extroverted and you love people, and, it's a lot of energy that we give to people, to talk to them, to listen to them, to help them solve problems. I mean, it's energy we're expending.
It is.
And what happens is, then when we don't sort of protect our own energy, we start feeling depleted, overwhelmed, scared, just like, really running low, because it's just energy that we use, whether it's for speaking, for thinking, for physically doing something. So, it's about realizing that even if you are an extrovert, introvert likely feels it more, but, they need that time to kind of regroup, cocoon, like recharge. And if we don't do that, then we start feeling all these, symptoms and things, and your body will say, oh no, avoid it. Or, we just feel kind of apathetic, depleted, overwhelmed, like you were saying. So, your body is so intelligent. Everybody, we all have that intuition, that power, that signal. And then we got to listen and then, make a change. And then some people may be like, what are you doing? How can you be off? Or, but you have to then stay true to you. That's how that authenticity to say, no, I don't have the energy to do this. I need to take care of me. I got to put boundaries, which are about, giving energy, giving that, talking, even though you love it, there is a point where we have to scale back, and that's okay. Even your phone has to be unplugged at some point to work well, or your computer. So we got to do that for ourselves. And I love that you really, did that. And, just because if you're a coach or not, we all struggle with this. Even if you're a physician, we're not like perfect. Just because you're a physician does not mean you know all the answers for your own care, which is surprising, but it's true. And even if you're a coach, doesn't mean you have it all figured out. We are still humans. We're still, even though we help other people, show them, put up the mirror, tell them like, oh, maybe I see this in you. Sometimes we just don't see it ourselves either. We have that blind spot. And I love that other people kind of, told you, you realized it, you had that awareness, and you made an action. So such important, really lessons about awareness, listening, understanding our energy and protecting our energy, and really being authentic, saying, no, I got to take a bold move to take care of me.
So I'll make one quick comment here. I love that, by the way, such wisdom there. One of the things that I think I slipped into, and I think maybe you guys can relate to this as being a coach. I sometimes find, the word hero. I'll just speak for myself. It may be just as a man, right? I love movies with heroes in it. I mean, we're created in the ultimate hero image, right? We want to step into that situation and bust through walls and help and fix and all that kind of stuff. And I think I mentioned this the last time we all got together. My favorite quote, and this is something that even as I'm saying this, I'm realizing a shift in me with regards to helping someone. Benjamin Disraeli, has his famous quote of, the greatest good you can do for another is not to give him your riches, but to reveal to him his own. And I think that quite often I make the mistake of, okay, there's a problem here, I'm jumping in. And Dr. Londoño, like you said, you're giving a piece of yourself away, and it is beautiful, great energy. I totally agree. And at the same time, I think that there's moments when that's appropriate and that's good. But at the same time, I think that to help someone see the beautiful riches, their God-given authenticity, those things that have been authored in them, right? To validate those things, to cause those things to be spotlighted, is what? It's going to create a hero, if you will, in that person. They need to become the hero of their story. And that's not like a burden, but they need to feel that they have the dignity of causation, right? John Eldredge says, the dignity of causation. I can cause things to move, not only in matter, but in people's hearts, right? We've got the dignity of causation, and quite often we just forget that we have massive ability, massive, just love and insight inside of us. And I think as a coach, my biggest job is spotlighting the riches in somebody else and helping them to see that.
Well, I think that is amazing, David, because Diana brought this up before too. And that is really, and you did too, having somebody else speak into your life. That's where coaches or mentors come in. But then it's us listening. So let me use a good example, Mr. David Osk, who has been a great friend and offering me some advice and thoughts about things that I'm doing. I have really worked to stop, listen, and evaluate things I'm doing based on what David has been saying. And Scott, I evaluated my whole life on what you said, but outside of God, my God and my family, that part of my life is fine, but my business life, I think we need to stop and listen. We move so fast. I can speak for myself. Well, right now I'm not moving fast, but usually move so fast, go crazy. David, hats off to you. I'm trying to figure out how I can do that. Take those things off my phone. I don't mean I know how to do it. It's just if I can do it. But
That's hard.
those kind of things, yeah, they are huge distractions on the phone. And I am an easily distracted person. I mean, squirrels are going by me right and left. Squirrel, squirrel, squirrel. And so I love that. You need to evaluate what's really taking your time, what is really capturing your attention. I was reading, okay, so you brought up resilience, David. If you have not read the book Resilience by John Eldredge, you've got to read that book. Amazing. I know you know who John Eldredge is. Amazing book. I was given it during my recovery here to read, and it was so good. I'm not a fast reader. I read it in less than a week. For me, that's really fast. But the whole thing is, he talks about some of those things, about being resilient through the challenges of life, but also about focusing on God. And the one thing that he said that I love, that I think fits into this conversation, we're so busy, no matter what it is in our life. But in this book, he's talking about we're so busy about trying to fit God into our busy life instead of shaping our life around God. I think that goes true for any business. What are you busy what important things are you trying to fit into your schedule? You're trying to fit your family. You're trying to fit important things into your busy schedule, or are you shaping your life around those most important things, right? And I think that's critical. We need to listen to others when they see our blind spots, right? Big blind spots all around us. When they see that and they point out, listen, you got a little struggle here. I think you need to stop and think about this, right? What do you think about that, David?
Oh man, something really jumped out at me. So again, back in, earlier this month here, still in November, just feeling depleted, that kind of thing. And I had someone call me and they said, David, how is your time in making eye contact with God? And what do you think he's telling you? And honestly, I was just like, man, I don't know. I just had felt so overwhelmed for several weeks. I really couldn't put a thought together. And he made a comment. He goes, I wonder if when God makes eye contact with you, that he just wants to say, hey, David, let me tell you about you and how wonderful you are. And I tell you what, when my kids, they come up in my office here, sometimes 3 or 4 times a day, and I give them a little pep talk. And it's so easy for me to look at Parker and Kate and just revel in their attributes, right? And tell them that they're fantastic and that they're okay and they're going to make it when there's a lot of drama going on, or to spotlight their beautiful character qualities, their strengths, and even point out some weaknesses that are actually strengths, and so on. And I think that that centering time, that still time, is so needed, because I cannot manufacture my own energy, right? It's imparted to me. I mean, we can't just decide I'm going to be completely full and bulletproof today. What's beautiful is when, and sometimes it's, God using other people, but it's when he makes eye contact with us and says things like, David, let me get kind of personal here. When my brother-in-law was lying on his deathbed 4 years ago, the last thing he said to me 3 hours before he died, and I felt like this was a message from God. He said, David, he whispered in my ear, because that's all he had left. He was 48 years old and went from, 230-pound ultra runner to 160 pounds eaten up by cancer. And he whispered in my ear, he said, I love how you love people. And I'll be honest, I felt like that was a very authentic from him. He's a man I really admired, or still do for that matter. But I felt like it was a message from God as well. I love how you love people. And so I think that quite often, me filling, the tank, as it were, and getting re-energized, is God validating what he authored in me already, right? We're so unique. And to turn that on its head, it would be so weird for someone, right, to sit down and start telling me the attributes of Scott Smith. Well, David, you are this, but he's actually describing Scott. It wouldn't feel authentic to me. It wouldn't feel like a glove. It wouldn't feel like a warm sweater. It wouldn't feel like a hug. But when someone, right, our creator and those around us who get to be the hands and feet of our creator, validate and point out those beautiful, most courageous, precious, authentic things in us, all of a sudden, right, our energy starts to rise, and it's almost like we're given permission to be more of ourselves and to shine brightly. And I tell you what, I think the thing that I love to do most in this life is to do that for other people. We may have incredibly different views on life in general, right? We may, theologically, spiritually, culturally, I don't care. I love to look at someone and to spotlight gold, because what happens in that moment is I think it's just loving somebody, by the way,
right?
Is when you give away like that, you actually are receiving. It's like there's something so magical that happens in that moment. But to spotlight someone else's beautiful, courageous, precious authenticity, identify those things that I see in them, man, it feels great. And I feel like that's one of the reasons that I'm here, like one of the highest reasons that I'm here.
Yeah.
And anyway, I hope that answers your question.
Well, I would agree with that. And speaking of authenticity, that's one thing I love about you, Diana. So authentic and so personable and caring for people and all that you do. And as we wind up, I've got to be the host, but take a moment, Diana. I don't want to rush you. Tell everybody your last thoughts and what you really want them to remember from today, and then remind everybody how they get in touch with you.
I think, a theme would be good, since we're all in some ways either have felt depleted. You were dealing with, your diagnosis, viruses, all this stuff that's going on. Really spend the time to, pay attention, to have a little bit of slowing down, to realize what's going on. Again, it could be something energetic, like you're giving too much energy, too much of your time, kind of getting overstretched. Maybe something physical, and you have to get, a checkup. Like maybe it is a time to get your checkup. Maybe it's a time to look at priorities, boundaries, all that. Really take the time to figure out what's going on or what adjustments you have to make. And don't wait for a New Year's resolution, like we always do. Just really do it today. The call to action today is what's going on, where are you with everything, really head to toe, physically, emotionally, spiritually, and, make a change today of something you're going to do for you. So then you can take care of other people. It doesn't matter what your job, your title is, you're always interacting and giving to others. So, you won't be able to do that if you're not well. You could be selling things, you could be a teacher, you could be anything. You're always giving. So figure out for you first. You need to take care of you first. So that's my last thoughts.
All right. And then how people get in touch with you again, Diana?
Yeah, you can go, I'm on LinkedIn. I am Twitter, Instagram, Diana Londoño MD, also on YouTube, and my website, Diana Londoño MD. There's more information there about things I do and everything else with urology. But just reach out. It'll be on the show notes, I think. But reach out, and LinkedIn is the first stop. That's great.
Yeah, awesome. And, all of this information, by the way, clickable in the show notes, also is now ticking along the bottom finally of the screen. I remember to do that. And so it's easy to get there. There is Diana's information right there. And so in the show notes and the comments, David, you are up next.
I love what Diana just said about a call to action today. Today is a special day, right? It's all we have. And I can't tell you how many times I've done the old New Year's resolution thing, or I'll start on Monday or whatever it is. And I'll just echo that. I think that today's the day. Put yourself first. It sounds so, counterintuitive, and even, for those of us who grew up in church, I think it's, you should be sacrificing for others all the time. But guess what? God said, love your neighbor as you love yourself. And that's something that I've been learning lately, right? Put the mask on yourself first, right, on the airplane, so you can help the person next to you. But do it today. Don't, and by the way, and I'll just say this for myself, if you feel like you can't, like if there's something that's just, bugging you, call Diana, call me, reach out. I'd love to walk with you, to help build that resilience, to build a better life for yourself and for those that you love most, right? But do it today. Don't wait. Time is precious, and you are precious.
Okay, awesome. And David, people get in touch with you where?
Yeah, so davidask.com, davidask.com, and you can check out my StatGuardPlus, StatGuardPlus.com as well. So we're helping people, of course, on a pretty large level at this point, which is really great. Next year, I'm hoping to be doing businesses in 9 countries, and just control their energy so they can spend money on things that really matter, not paying their light bill, right?
Yeah, that's so amazing. Well, you know what? I love what you said there, and that is all of us, Scott and I included, want you guys to connect with us, reach out. If we can bless you and help you, I can tell you all 4 of us are about helping people. All 4 of us are about blessing you and really having an authentic connection and authentic communication with you. It's one thing I mean, all of you have heard me say it. Every time I connect with somebody I knew, I say, well, now you're stuck. And they look at me funny. I said, now you're my friend for life because I'm a lifetime connector. So I'm not going away. And I think that's what it's all about. I mean, David can attest to that. From the time we met, he and I have continued the dialogue. We continue to reach out. He texts me, tells me he's praying for me. We Zoom, we talk about some ideas he's had about my business and things that are going on. That is how you become better together. That is how we all rise together and love and bless each other. So I just want to thank both of you so much. You're both amazing people, such amazing friends. And Scott, I know you don't have a lot of voice.
I just want
today,
to say thanks to David and Diana for coming back on the show. It's just been again really helpful. Talking about burnout, and David, congratulations on taking a sabbatical. So that's a big deal.
I may do this. By the way, somebody else challenged me. David Ash challenged me to do this every December and take an entire month off. I'm not sure I can pull that off, but it's on my radar, and I'm going to do my best to make that happen.
Well, you know, the CEO of Patagonia, it takes like, I think 4 or 5 months where he just goes somewhere in the Midwest and leaves the company for like 4 months. I mean, he really does this every single year. And
Love
Patagonia is a hugely successful company. So, you know, if they can do it, you know, we all can do that time to step away, go in the wilderness, go in nature, you know, really recharge ourselves. So it can be done. It's just, you know, we don't want to, or we find roadblocks, you know, limiting beliefs, but you can do anything to take care of you and then be better for your company.
Yes. Well, I want to say from personal experience that we think too highly of ourselves sometimes on how much we're needed.
Yeah.
And it's been amazing. I have found out that people can do a lot of things that I do, maybe better. And I thought that I had to do it. And so I think that taking that time is really vital. And we think we can't do it until we do it, right? It's like anything in life. They thought they couldn't break the 4-minute mile until they did, and now everybody breaks it. They thought they couldn't get away nobody thought you could close a restaurant on Sundays and be any good. You're missing out on all that business until Chick-fil-A did it. I think they're a little successful. You know, there's all kinds of things that go against the grain, go against the norm, go against what everybody says. And from the very beginning, when Scott and I started the show and when I started podcasting, I have monetized my live streams. And the reason I bring that up is because everybody told me when I started doing that, well, you can't do that. Well, why? Because you don't have enough viewers. But I'm doing it. And they said, you mean you've already got sponsors? You're already doing it? Yeah. Well, but you can't do that. Well, but I'm doing it because I just found a way. And my whole point is, in anything, you find a way, you make things happen if you really want to. And if you're really called to do that, you'll find a way. So amazing wisdom from the two of you. Thank you so much for being here today. I let the show run over. Sorry, Scott, I was trying to be responsible.
Hey, we're good. This was a great discussion. Thank you guys, David, Diana.
Glad to be here.
All right. We'll see you guys in a minute. Hang tight in the green room. We'll be right there. Well, Scott, I know we got to wrap it up, but man, amazing friends here today in the comments. Just want to say hi to everybody. Thanks for being here, and just amazing show. And you know what? I left David on the screen and not Scott. So there we go.
Where did I go?
Somebody asked me, Shree, this morning, was it saying on the backstage, how often do you make mistakes? I said, every show. There you go.
Hey,
That was
it's going to happen. Russ, we're just talking about these taking sabbaticals and taking breaks. It was 4 years ago that I went to Goodwill, spent $3 and bought a battery powered alarm clock because I was using my phone, like so many people, as my alarm clock. And the problem is that, you're scrolling through feeds before you go to bed, and first thing in the morning, what are you doing? Laying there. And I was a news junkie. So I went cold turkey and stopped listening to the news. And it turns out in 4 years, I haven't missed anything.
Well, I tell you, my beautiful wife keeps me updated on the news because I don't watch either. It is amazing. You can function in life without watching the news because it's penetrates us from if something world shattering is happening, we're going to hear it one way or the other. We don't have to be tuning into the news, which is very negative. But, I love that, Scott. It all talks about choices. You're talking about choices. And, I am the live the life you choose kind of guy because I believe life happens and then you choose. And I am living out what I preach right now. Life has happened to me, something that I didn't want, that I didn't choose, but I am choosing where I'm going from here. And really, Scott and I want to encourage all you guys today. I'm at russhedge.com. He's at dscottsmith.com. All of the other David and Diana's links are below. And you can do amazing things. Reach out if you need encouragement. Reach out if you need help. We want to connect with you and we want to encourage you because it's amazing what you can do. If you want to write a book and learn how to do that, talk to Scott. If you want tips on live streaming, you can give me a call. You can give either of us a call. If you want a coaching for your business, for your marketing, give us a call. There's all kinds of great things we can do. But most of all, we care about you. And if you just want to say, I'm feeling a little frustrated and struggling, reach out and we'd be glad to help you. So Scott, last words before we sign off for the day.
Yeah, I just want to tell everyone, thank you for tuning in both to the Experience Backstage for this show, for sharing it out, and for following us on YouTube.
Yeah, that would be great. Please follow us on YouTube. The experience.video is how you get there. The experience.video will take you straight there. You can hit the subscribe button. It's amazing. People say, I don't want to subscribe to a whole bunch of stuff. Well, you'll be blessed by subscribing to the experience.video, our YouTube, because you get all the past content with amazing guests like Diana and David, and notices about future and upcoming guests. Indeed. That's all it is. I mean, basically, it's just when you click on YouTube, you'll have us at more accessible. And so we appreciate that. And thank you again. You guys are all a blessing. Thanks, everybody, for being here today. Until we see you again, have a great day and a great life, and
enjoy the experience.
Thanks for tuning in to The Experience Live with Russ and Scott. If you enjoyed today's show, please share it with others, post about it on social media, or subscribe on YouTube. See you next time.